Okay, we're going to have a panel discussion now. It's called Events Gone Viral. It's with Adam Brown, Janine Just, and Mikki Glass. And they're going to talk to you about the other part of what Ben talked about, which is how to make a great event and then to take it viral. So come on down.
Harder, better, faster, stronger. More than power, never.
All right, I said I wasn't coming back up, but I'm coming back up. I couldn't help myself. So I'm really excited about this panel because I'm sure that there is not a single person in here who does not want your events to go viral. And what we're going to talk about right now is how to do that, what the components of a viral event are, and even something I wanted to really talk about, which is the ethics of that, what's good practice, what's bad practice. But first, I can introduce you for sure, but I'd rather actually have you guys just quickly introduce yourselves, tell everyone what you do. They're all rock stars in their own right, so I'm really excited to have all of you hear from them. So Janine, do you mind starting?
Hi, there we go. I'm Janine Just, and I have a small little digital agency called JJI, and we expertise in bringing online, offline to further the conversation with different brands that we work with.
My name is Mikki Glass. I am the CEO of Pickit.com. We just launched it. It's actually an online contest and sweeps platform. But by trade, I'm a marketer and a brand person.
Is this on? Okay. My name's Adam Brown, and I'm the president of Sircle Media. We're a social strategy firm. We do a lot of bringing the offline, online, and work a lot, actually, with Janine on trying to bring all the different silos and touch points with clients together. It's true.
All right, so let me get started with what might be an easier question. Not every event can go viral, and I think when event planners are putting our events together, there are some things that we need to think about for this to even be a possibility. Not every event has that speed and steam behind it. So, whoever wants to answer, or all of you, what are some of the components of an event that are required to even put yourself on the map, to even have the chance to have your event or go viral?
I'll jump in. So I think you really have to do a little research and kind of find out current trending topics, trending tag words, keywords, and make sure you can incorporate that into your campaign because they'll make you relevant. It'll put you on the scene. People will be discovering your event that might not even have that particular genre or brand or even know about that. It's a great way for you to be discovered.
I would say from a brand standpoint, and I think that's the one thing to always remember is to treat an event like a brand. And I think finding ways to make it visual, finding ways to, people don't read anymore. So the days of like putting piles and piles of copy and thinking that people are going to read it is not really here anymore. So finding ways to really touch on an emotion, whether it's through a photograph, whether it's through a graphic element, something that's going to be interesting and stop someone in their tracks and make them share it with someone else.
I think magicians help, but short of magicians, I think it's kind of if you ask for it, you get it, right? And so depending on the scenario, whether it be financial services or a wedding, any kind of event, the more personal or the more personal the information like finance, you're not going to get people that are going to go out and try to let things live beyond the event. But you get some outliers, and you want to try to put opportunities in front of them that will give them some sort of action to take afterwards. And from a brand standpoint, what we try to do in any scenario with clients of ours is try to bring anyone back to some sort of web interface where we can engage with them. And then the digital marketing, and I am also a marketer by trade, can start, and you can maybe not email them until they get angry, but continue to email them and have an ongoing conversation with them afterwards. If you don't ask for it, I find you don't get it.
I think one other thing, though, to also think about is what you're trying to make them do. We start everything that we do from that. So what are you trying to accomplish? And I think one of the big things when it comes to events is you want to make them feel something. And I think finding something, again, going back to that sort of graphic or photograph, something that is going to make them feel something and ultimately do something. And that's, I think, when viral happens is when people feel something.
Absolutely. And just to pipe into that, I think we're all event planners in this room, and what's an event? it's showing a great experience. So if you can showcase that to people online and have them be able to share that experience, people want to share experiences that they think that they can have an emotional connection to. So if they feel that connection, they're going to share it. They're going to share it to their networks, and then hopefully their networks will share it with theirs. And then that's how the process works.
Now, I'm going to break my next question into two, and I'm going to ask this to each of you. What is the most effective marketing campaign that you've done, and what's the most effective marketing campaign that you've seen done to either promote an event, or in some cases I know it's brand related, so maybe a product or a brand. We just want to be inspired, some cool ideas here.
I mean, I'm not an event planner, so I'm in awe of all of you because I would be the worst event planner on the planet. So I'm not an event planner. But something that we've done that I'm pretty proud of, we were involved in a program last year with Mountain Dew where we actually convinced them to do a campaign with Lil Wayne, and we created a skate park down in New Orleans down by the hurricane. So right at the sort of the right at the levee, we built a big skate park. There are no skate parks in New Orleans, and we did a lot of events around that. But it was something that that was something that was needed in the city. It was really authentic to him because he is a skateboarder. He had a lot of time to think about skateboarding while he was alone in a cell. But So it was a great program that we were really fortunate to be involved with. And I would say the one that I was most in awe of, and I don't know if it was really an event, I think it was more of a guerrilla marketing program, was done with Honest Tea. And I don't know if you saw it a couple years ago, but they set out to find about how honest Americans were. And they put coolers in 5 different cities. And they put basically a cooler in a jar full of, a jar to put money in. And people were supposed to put some sort of donation and take the Honest Tea. And it was incredible how honest people are. You wouldn't think. They put it in Boston and in New York and San Francisco. And it was viral, and it got so many impressions. And cities were putting local broadcasts about how honest their city was. Boston was actually the most honest of the cities. It's a fabulous campaign. I'm fortunate to know the creative director who created it, and it's one of my favorite stories.
Sure. So one of my favorite campaigns that I worked on, and this was when Foursquare was pretty still relevant. I don't know how many people are still checking in, but I also know as a girl living in New York City, I don't have a personal Foursquare account. But we did leverage this with one of our clients, which was called Delicatessen in Mac Bar. I don't know if any one of you have been there. Perfect. We do have some fans. And we did it with Aratunda Thurston. Any of you read Fast Company? He actually contributes to the ending cover and was just featured on the cover. We did it between him and Jennifer Magnolfi, who is actually a pretty well-known architect, and kind of saw some traction on Twitter about them checking in all the time. And we kind of engaged with that and said, let's have some fun with this. Let's do a whole campaign. Let's actually have a party for them, an inauguration party. So we actually reached out to them privately and told them what we were doing, and they thought it was amazing. And we had Baratunda and Jennifer pretty much doing breakfast meetings there, their lunch meetings. They were doing dinners with clients and then bringing their friends in pretty much every single day. So as a brand, that was amazing because they had large networks. And eventually, Jennifer ousted out Baratunda, and we had this huge inauguration party where we swore her in. No joke, this is what we did. But it was great that we were showing everyone that was a fan of Delicatessen and people that were part of that community how we were engaging, being kitschy with social media. And it was awesome because we had the founders, Dennis Crowley came in, and Christian Walker, who's their business development, for this tiny little party that we decided to do that just kind of blew up before our eyes. We had the New York Times cover it. Mashable came and did an interview. They actually taped the whole swearing in. And, we made some really good friends and connections out of it. And a recent campaign that I would say caught my eye is with Heineken. They went and positioned themselves in JFK. and I don't know anyone else saw this. They basically went up to people. They had this huge ticker board, kind of, how it looks like when your flights are on time and delayed. And they asked random people in JFK if they had the option to push the button on that big ticker, that they were being able to, an all expense paid trip to wherever that ticker said. So they had no idea where they were going, but it was so surprising to see how many people really just wanted to give up any plans and just kind of go for an all paid excursion to God knows where. So some of the locations were pretty interesting. And it was just a really fun experience to see how, once again, big brands are really engaging their online communities and their fans and their consumers.
So the first event that I actually worked on was a company that I personally launched. It was like a group buying model in the college space. So we launched it in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Anyone go to Michigan?
I'm a Buckeye.
Oh my God. We got a Buckeye on the panel. Terrible. So anyway, we terrible. I'm out. We launched at the University of Michigan in the opening home football game in September of 2010. And so what we did was we actually flew out there, and the night before the game, we actually hung 20,000 door tags on doorknobs on campus. And then the next day, we went to the 5 or 6 biggest pre-games, and we handed out fortune cookies. We actually handed out 30,000 fortune cookies. And in each one of the fortune cookies was a score. So it said, Michigan will beat UConn by 0-3, 3-7, 7-10 points. At halftime, we asked everyone to text in, and we were able to get their text opt-ins from everybody that had their score, who ultimately still didn't know what the final score would be. The final score was a chance to get some free iTunes gift cards from us, and we partnered up with Apple, as well as free pizza from like the biggest pizza place in Ann Arbor. And so we went out there. Michigan crushed UConn, so that was obviously great for me. We were able to actually get 10,000 signups of new student users for our group buying site. Other than my flight out there and not sleeping, it cost me about $4,000 for 10,000 users for our database, and it was wildly productive to help us sort of get going. The business is closed now, but it was an amazing sort of experiential marketing event back in 2010. With regard to a clever marketing campaign, Heineken's roulette and their recent dropped campaign, which is a playoff that I agree with. So she stole my thunder with that. So I'm going to go a different route. And I think the media darling of like the last 5 years was the Old Spice response campaign, right? So actually, my college roommate at Michigan worked at Whiting Kennedy. He worked on the campaign, so I'm a little biased. But a tremendous campaign allowing people to communicate with them via social media and give sort of real-time responses. I think 186 responses were given over 2 days, and the metrics were just absolutely through the roof. And it was also back in 2010, and I don't think anyone's really topped sort of an all-in campaign that had quite an impact, taking Old Spice from an irrelevant sort of body spray or body wash for males and put them in #1 in the category from literally being off the charts irrelevant. So to me, that's probably one of the best I've ever seen.
Now, from experience, and I will say I've done this myself, when event planners say they want their events to go viral, most of the time that means they want to sell tickets. So they're not necessarily talking about the brand side of things and really making sure that it gets out there, but in advance, they want to sell more tickets. So what are some of the things that planners, do you have any ideas you can share with planners in terms of how to engage people and make things go viral before an event, for example?
Well, I think there are two things. I mean, one of the things that I think people forget to do is to use the people who love them. I mean, the fact is that people who love you will do great things for you. I mean, that's how I built my business. It's about relationships. And not everyone's going to have a celebrity show up at their event or something big and flashy. But the fact is that we were talking about sending piles and piles of emails. I mean, I don't have an issue with sending a lot of emails, but my thing is, the fact is we don't. Again, I go back to we don't read them. So I have piles of emails that come in every day that I immediately click off of. So the fact is that if you can find people in your network that love you, that will help you to get the word out, I think that's how you go viral. I mean, I think it's about really telling people why you're doing it and getting your best fans, your best ambassadors to do some of that work for you. And I think most people who are planning events have a circle of people. And if you ask someone to do something and it means something to you, people will do it. It's most of the time you don't ask. And I think asking is really what's important.
Great point.
I think trying to find influencers or targeting who your key influencers are. Do you guys know what an influencer is? Everyone always says, what the hell is an influencer? It's just people who have large communities and leverage those communities very well and efficiently. So if you can engage with them, and once again, that's also bringing a point of sharing with people that actually know you as well, because they're going to help be your brand evangelist, and that's what you want. You want other people to help spread that word. So the best way is to kind of target those people in helping spread those links so you can sell those tickets.
I'll speak from a social standpoint because I'm sort of a social geek. So a lot of people use different platforms. I'm sure if you took a cross sample in here, some are Facebook users, others use Twitter, some use them all. And my recommendation is you have to really sort of play in the sandbox as the sandbox rules are, right? So you wouldn't speak the same on Facebook as you would on Twitter. You wouldn't do the same on Instagram. So you have to sort of not have those different silos and sort of just map them out on a piece of paper. If I'm on Facebook, most people don't like to leave Facebook. Facebook ads perform better on Facebook when people go on it and they check in the one time a week. You want to keep them in the Facebook world. So taking them off might not be a good idea. Leaving them giving them a Facebook opportunity by a custom Facebook tab to register for an event would be a good idea instead of leaving. People on Twitter like to go on there and get quick communication. A lot of times they don't even like to leave Twitter to go back to Instagram or what have you. So you want to try to keep people in there and use eye-catching keywords to try to get people's attention. So I think it's really important that you don't just have a one-size-fits-all. I find when people are busy, especially from my experience working with people in event planning, it's great to check things off your list. You guys are very list-oriented, I think, or you should be. I know I should be. And it's very important not to just say, okay, cool, Facebook is going to Twitter, this one goes here, this one goes that, I'm covered. You kind of have to speak the right language on each platform and really sort of break those down. So even though they may be synced, if this is your agenda, then you have to really map out how you want to approach it to have, I guess, the biggest impact.
I'm also going to add, if you can put together a contest online, everyone loves to do something for free. If they know that they're going to get a free product or a free service, they're going to do what you need to do that. So if you encourage them that the more you share with a certain link in order to purchase a ticket or whatever that point of action is, the better chances you have in winning that prize. And kind of engage your sponsors in that and have your sponsors be offering either that product or service that end goal is receiving.
I swear I didn't pay her to say that.
I was going to say that was the best intro to a shameless plug for me.
I swear that was such a... do you see me grinning? I was like, thank you.
Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about Pickit real quick?
So it's quick. So Pickit is an online sweepstakes, contest and sweepstakes platform. And actually what I was going to say is give away the biggest thing you can find. I mean, people enter contests for two reasons. One, they really want the prize. I remember years ago, Manolo Blahnik gave like a pair of shoes every day for a year. They had so many people because who wouldn't want a pair of Manolo Blahniks every day of the year? The other thing is if you think you're going to win. So if you can give away a lot of something, people enter things that they think they can win. So if you're giving away 100 tickets to something, like give away the best prize that you can possibly give away. And you're absolutely right. People like to win things. There are crazy people out there who like to win things all the time. But for your own event, I think it really does make a difference. And hopefully you guys liked using it.
Yes, we did use it. So I think some of you actually
I think some of you guys won.
Pickit.com, right? Any winners?
I think some of you guys won.
Yeah, back there. So we did a sweepstakes and gave away free Planner Tech tickets. So if you paid, you should have joined the contest. So let me talk about something that maybe people don't want to talk about, which is ethics. I guess maybe the best way to ask this question is, what is your biggest no when it comes to marketing? For example, I am a huge anti-buy likes on Facebook or Twitter, for example. But some people think that's fine. So so that we don't get too mixed in the world of I think this and you think that, how about, you guys all hear that? It's very loud in my ear. How about you just tell us the one thing that you really think, at least personally, should never be done when it comes to marketing?
I think the oversharer. The oversharer is my biggest thing. I know that we're all social and we're always on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and any other portal that's out there that we need to be relevant with. But I think that if you're promoting an event or whatever you're promoting, most likely in this room it's going to be events, you have to do it in a way that it's not too taxi or a little bit aggressive or too much, because the oversharing of, okay, I know that you're putting on this event, I don't need to see it in my news feed every 15 minutes. Be conscious of what you're putting out there and making sure that it's not too much.
I think for me, the most important thing is really to make sure you keep your integrity. I mean, that's how you build business. People believe you. People want to believe in you. And I think that anything that strays from that isn't true, that isn't real, buying Facebook likes is lying. And I mean, chances are you probably don't want, we were talking earlier about people who send you, F-bombs over email. You don't want them in your realm anyway. And I think if you have to buy Facebook fans, those are not really going to be your fans. So I think really just retaining that integrity in every single thing you do, people respond to it and they follow you that way.
I'll just jump in on the Facebook likes. So as a strategist, a lot of people come to me and ask me my advice, right? And so, do you believe in buying Facebook fans? And it's like asking a doctor, do you believe in eating lots of grease and red meat and never working out? And of course not. It's terrible. It's a really bad idea. But ultimately, if that's what somebody wants to do, we don't do that as a company. But if somebody said to me, I'm putting on an event, I think it's very important that we show critical mass, that we have users, and they specifically wanted advice on how to make that impression. You could make an argument for it, but it would have no marketing value. And I think the reason I'm jumping in on that is that I, by no sense of the imagination, endorse this on any platform, especially Facebook. But it's very important to have an understanding of what you want to accomplish. And the bottom line is, if you want to grow a Facebook community for an event, for a client, for a brand, whatever it might be, literally the worst thing you can do is buy Facebook fans, because it's all math-based. It's an algorithm, and the more fake people you have, the less likely you'll ever reach people that are real. And I find more than anything else, when I meet with chief marketing officers at big brands, very few understand EdgeRank. A lot of them have actually never even heard of it. I'm assuming some people in here probably never heard of it. And so a huge marketing no-no, if you're a Facebook marketer, would obviously be buying fans. And certainly the lying aspect is never going to be a way to resonate with somebody as a true brand, as a true event planner, as a true experience. It's just a big no-no. So even though that was yours, I definitely am on that with you.
I'm glad to hear. I mean, not everyone agrees with that, obviously. And to your point, maybe there's a right time to do it. But yeah. I don't think it's good. We have a couple minutes left, so if anyone has questions either for one of our panelists or for all of them, we can take a question or two. There's one all the way in the back.
You send a picture of Oreos, and then you'll be set. They already stole that one. Well, it's interesting. I thought about mentioning that for the marketing campaigns, but it wasn't a marketing campaign. It showed that they sort of were awake and not asleep at the wheel, and I think that's a big way to win social points. Social media exists around all of us, whether we like it or not, right? And so it's hard sometimes to control it. My philosophy always on social media is that, so it exists out there, right? And if you owned a store and overnight someone sprayed graffiti on it, well, you have the ability to go out with a wash bucket and wash it off. You control your message. If you choose not to engage in it, then you're allowing it to sort of go on without having a voice. You're not entering with boxing gloves, and I think that's actually a bad term. Boxing gloves are bad, but handling it in a way where you can control some of that voice to make sure you get that across. And I think in the event space, I'm sure things go wrong all the time. And I'm not an event planner, but I've been to events where they certainly have. And so I think it's important to be, I always say, if speak with good news or speak good fast and speak bad twice as fast. Like, be very clear of what's going on and show that you actually care rather than ignoring.
I mean, I was saying earlier that I'm not an event planner, but I'm always in awe of people who do that. And I think the reason that I'm in awe of them is because they always look like everything's fine. And I think that's a lot of it. Is just, you know what? I mean, things are going to happen, and I feel like people are human. And when you, again, treat them with, you know, with honesty and integrity and kindness, like, people are not going to be mean on social media. They're mean to people who deserve them to be mean. And then there are always just mean people. And those are people that just, you have to just get a thick skin, because if you plan events, you have thick skins. Because people are, you know, can do a lot of crazy things at events, or, you know, something's dirty or messy, or you don't have enough food, or I think it's just about doing what you do and just keeping a level head the whole way through.
Spin it is what she was saying. So they didn't hear you necessarily with the mic. So she was just saying all press is good press. Depends how you spin it. That makes all the difference. So please give them a round of applause. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet them.